Hello and welcome to Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. For the past few weeks, we have been engaging you on money matters, and today we continue the conversation on financial literacy. It's the Christmas season, so now is the time to learn how to balance your spending and saving. We also look at proper garbage disposal. There's more, so stay with us.
What people want are good memories to say, wow, I got this from this person and they really thought about me. So how about looking for some pictures that you have of you and that special person and packaging it nicely or putting it in a picture frame? That could make a really nice gift. Or think about what is their financial goal that they're trying to save towards. And it may be that you put a nice little card and say, hey, I'm contributing towards X because I know it means the world to you. Or look around the home. What is it that they really want? It could be something as simple as lovely pillows for a woman, right? And you may buy her a set of pillows. Look for something that means the world to that person. It doesn't have to cost a whole lot of money. It just has to show that you've put in a whole lot of heart.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, December 2, 2021. The Ministry of Housing, Urban Renewal, Environment and Climate Change has announced a $63 million housing program aimed at supporting resilience building efforts across Jamaica. The program will target households affected by climate-related disasters, particularly those living in substandard housing, low-lying areas, or along gully banks and in river courses, as well as informal settlements. $1 million will be allocated to each parliamentarian to relocate, rehabilitate, and regularize housing in their constituencies. Housing Minister Pernell Charles Jr. made the announcement in Parliament on Tuesday.
The ministry will collaborate with MPs. We will provide directions and support for the initiative, and I implore my colleagues on both sides to submit the requested information at the soonest and no later than February 2022. It is my hope that we can be able to assist, if even in a small way, before the next season starts.
Several communities are to benefit from social and behavioral intervention following the award of 14 small grants through the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, Positive Pathways activity. The grants, which total 21 million Jamaican dollars, were awarded under 3 categories: community peace building, social and behavioral science, and positive youth development. The activities will benefit more than 500 parents, caregivers, and youth in 7 communities across 4 parishes. The projects will promote conflict resolution and domestic and community violence reduction, along with teaching life skills, soft and emotional skills, and effective communication. It is endorsed by key stakeholders who see it as a critical tool for creating stronger and more vibrant communities for persons to flourish.
The administration of the grants under this initiative seamlessly aligns within the national strategic goal to reduce youth crime and violence by providing for social investments in more or most vulnerable people and communities.
This is why USAID is pleased to partner with these selected organizations to help catalyze the growth and promote youth development and strengthen citizen security, which in return will provide impactful changes to the community and to society.
The Positive Pathways activity is a 5-year commitment by the people of the United States to work with the Jamaican government, communities, and organizations to reduce violence in 12 vulnerable communities. Cabinet has awarded 3 contracts to undertake important projects in the health sector. This was disclosed by Information Minister Favor Williams at this week's post-cabinet press briefing. They include a $1.69 million contract to Mylan Labs Limited for the procurement of antiretroviral drugs, ARVs, for a period of 12 months.
Cabinet also gave approval for the award of a contract for the supply of clinical chemistry systems for general chemical and immunochemistry for the Cornwall Regional Hospital for a period of 3 years in the amount of US $2,229,521.23, and that contract went to Facey Commodity Limited.
And work is to begin on Phase 2 of the Cornwall Regional Hospital parking lot, as a contract for the provision of material and labor has also been approved. The contract is for a period of 8 months. Cabinet has also given the green light to several contracts for services to the TAJ, Petrojam, and Jamaica Conference Center. HID-CID Limited has been approved to provide motor vehicle consumables to Tax Administration Jamaica for the 1-year period 2021 to 2022 at a cost of $598,500. And Mothers Enterprise is tapped to provide canteen concessionaire services for Petrojam Limited for 2 years.
Cabinet gave approval for the award of contract to undertake renovation works at the Jamaica Conference Center located at 14 to 20 Port Royal Street, Kingston, in the amount of $115,088,857, and that contract went to GECO Consultants and Construction Limited.
And finally, Jamaica has received over $2 million in grant funding from the Green Climate Fund, GCF. Environment and Climate Change Minister Pernell Charles Jr. gave the update during Tuesday's sitting of Parliament. He was sharing the outcomes of the recently held COP26 Climate Change Conference in Glasgow, Scotland.
And this funding has been dedicated to strengthening our national agencies to tackle the challenges brought by climate change across sectors, and to develop and implement projects that bring tangible results to our communities.
Minister Charles Jr. says plans are in place to create a climate finance access unit to streamline climate finance management across government. He adds that, as an outcome of the COP26, Jamaica is in line to draw down even more climate adaptation funding and benefit from technical assistance. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
Getting the first dose is not an excuse not to wear the mask, not to social distance or physical distance, not to sanitize. Getting the first dose is not justification for deciding that you're going to resume the parties, the gatherings beyond the limits that have been established. The journey is to observe the protocols, take the second dose when it is time, and then we will resume some semblance of normalcy once we achieve herd immunity.
On Finance Matters today, we'll look at money management, the importance of having a budget, and the need to have a bank account.
What is a budget? How do I open an account? When I put my money in the bank, is it really safe? Financially literate citizens know the importance of money management, savings, and investing. Hello, I'm Daniel Pasley and welcome to Finance Matters. In today's episode, I'll be talking to the Director of Stakeholder Engagement, Communication and International Relations at the Financial Services Commission, Mr. David Geddes. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow the Ministry of Finance on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to see all the episodes and highlights. Welcome, Mr. Geddes, for coming on the program.
Thank you. A pleasure to be here, Daniel.
Now, what does financial literacy mean to you?
Financial literacy means that you are equipped with the knowledge and skill sets to manage your financial assets. Means that you understand that there are certain things you need to do. You need to have a bank account in order to do transactions, to be a part of the economy. You need to insure your assets as you get them, and you need to create wealth so that you can plan for retirement. When you understand and are committed to that, then you are financially literate.
But a man on the street might hear this and say, boy, this sounds very difficult and for persons in middle class and upper class, so why should it be important to me?
Definitely not. Everybody is good. There's going to come a time in everybody's life when they have to retire. So let's look at that first. Retirement planning. The minute that you start to earn any money, you should be considering how you are going to retire, when you're going to retire, and the lifestyle that you wish to experience when you're retired. So you have to plan for that. So you put away money each month, either in a pension or an approved retirement scheme, and you ensure that you have money in your later years.
Now, what is the role of the Financial Services Commission in educating the Jamaican citizens about financial literacy?
Okay, the Financial Services Commission, FSC. First of all, we regulate and supervise the securities industry, that's like the stock market, the insurance industry, whether health, life insurance, general insurance, and also private pensions. So it is critical for us to promote financial literacy. We start with the very young. We have a school's financial education program, and that is in high secondary schools across the island, where we teach the children how to budget, understanding credit, how to create wealth, and also how to plan for retirement. These are necessary skills so that as soon as you enter the workforce, you are able to plan for your future, not just going day by day and hoping for the best. There will always be a rainy day, and you need to plan for that rainy day, and you need to plan for your retirement.
We've been experiencing a crisis, so to speak. You know, COVID-19 is here for over a year now, and I'm sure that there were some financial theories that were challenged during this pandemic. Could you share some of those?
Excellent question. The fact is that the COVID pandemic has been several rainy days just continuing, and we're in the midst of it. Nobody even knows when or if there will be a post-COVID. What we have learned during this period is that the conventional wisdom of having about 3 months' salary put away, so in case of any emergency, well, we have, as you just said, we're well over a year into the pandemic, and some persons have lost their jobs, persons have had to retire early. There are a lot of different things that have happened that have just thrown things off kilter. So what we know now is that you have to plan even for the unexpected. And putting away the minimum is not good enough. You need to put away as much as possible, and you need to budget. Can't overemphasize the importance of budgeting. From you start to earn, you must budget, and included in that budget must be money for retirement and money for wealth. Persons think about just having, say, a bank account and then just drawing money from that. You need an account also that you're actually using to create wealth, and also you need a stream of funds for that rainy day that you can access. So you're thinking about creating wealth, you're thinking about a rainy day emergency fund, and you're also thinking about retirement planning.
So basically you have a diverse portfolio.
Most definitely, and that's part of being financially literate, that the knowledge and skill set to get that diverse set of accounts.
So hit it home for me. Give me some practical tips of how we can manage our finances.
Well, first of all, if you create a budget and separate your wants from your needs, that's a very first step. There are things that you may want. You may want to go to a party. You may want to get this new outfit. You may want to rent a car for a particular weekend or whatever. Those are wants, usually. Now, in terms of needs, you need to pay your rent or your mortgage.
Right.
You need to eat. These are important things. So you deal with the needs first, and then you deal with the wants. Now, for me, I like to tell persons that importantly, a need is putting away money for retirement, because you will need it down the road. So you need to put away money either in a retirement scheme or in your pension, in a pension plan. And also, the minute you start to get any assets, persons think about only insurance for their car if you own a car, because the law says you must insure your vehicle. Right. But if you have a home, if you even rent a place, you can actually insure the contents of the house, the furniture in the house, even if you don't own the building itself. So there's an insurance product for everybody and for all occasions, and it is important for you to insure your assets so that should something happen, you can, you can benefit. There's even the possibility of insuring against a loss of income. And, persons on, say, the Rio Grande in Portland doing rafting, my home parish, by the way, they may lose their rafts in a storm. Yeah. You can get microinsurance for that. And
let's talk about microinsurance. Just explain.
Microinsurance, okay, normally you get paid monthly. Right. You would pay that premium monthly to an insurance company. Microinsurance is set for persons, vulnerable persons in the society, for instance, farmers, rafts persons, those persons who get money in a sporadic way. So they craft a special policy for them so that they can insure their crop or they can insure their rafts, and should something happen, they get that money. And also there are limits on the policy value for microinsurance, and that's further information is available on our website, www.fscjamaica.org. So persons can get information on that there,
and also on your social media pages as well.
And our social media pages at FSC Jamaica. Yes.
All right, thank you, Mr. Geddes, for coming on the program and sharing us some critical lessons about financial literacy.
It was a pleasure to be here.
I hope everyone is taking notes. I want to thank Mr. Geddes for sharing his insights and lessons that we no doubt found useful. And thank you for joining us for another episode of Finance Matters. Follow us on social media at MOF Jamaica. And of course, tune in next week as we continue to demystify the economic and fiscal policies and initiatives implemented by the government of Jamaica to empower Jamaicans as we chart a path to Jamaica's economic prosperity.
We need all Jamaicans to know that child abuse is not just an issue for the government, it's an issue for all Jamaicans. So we need everybody to help us to protect our children. If you know of a child who is being victimized, a child who is abused or neglected, just make that report so we can get that child the help they need. Calling or reporting is easy. All you have to do is remember to call 211. If you are an adult, if you're a child, if you are in church, in your community group, wherever you are, once you are aware there's a child who is in need of care and protection, just be the one and call 211.
It's approaching the time of year when we will produce more solid waste than usual, and the National Solid Waste Management Authority has been encouraging us to not only containerize, but also separate, compost, and recycle.
The National Solid Waste Management Authority, NSWMA, has been partnering with the Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA, since 2004. Over this 12-year period, 30 employees from the NSWMA have been to Japan, where they received training in areas that included composting, managing recycling facilities, landfill management techniques, sustainable solid waste for CARICOM countries, sustainable waste management for Caribbean islands, solid waste management A, which consists of basic introductory courses, and Solid Waste Management B, which consists of advanced courses. Beneficiaries on return submit a report and a proposal on the subject matter for funding by JICA under their follow-up cooperation facility. One such project is the Solid Waste Reduction through Waste Separation, Waste Diversion, and Recycling pilot project.
The solid waste reduction through waste separation, waste diversion and recycling pilot project supports one of the main mandates of the National Solid Waste Management Authority, that is to implement programs that will effect behavioral change. So we welcome this initiative. For the next 6 months, the pilot project will be in 3 communities, namely Caribbean Estates and Caymanas Country Club Estates in St. Catherine and Rollington Town in Kingston. The project is estimated to be about $7 million, of which $6.7 million is being funded by the government of Japan through the Jamaica International Cooperation Agency, JICA, and as such we are very grateful for this. In the coming months, we will be meeting with residents, hosting community meetings, attending the Citizens Association meetings, and basically encouraging persons to separate their plastic containers, their cardboards and cans from their regular household waste. So we will be asking residents to take out these items, and a separate truck will come and do the collection, and we will give these items to a third-party companies. The learnings from this pilot project will assist the authority to develop policies and plans to guide and to help us to better manage solid waste and to get residents to buy into the concept of separating their plastic containers, their cans, and also cardboards from their regular household waste. So at the end of the project, we will be in a much better position to determine behavior and attitude towards separation at source, how to really convince and to influence persons, residents, to separate these items from their regular household items.
On behalf of JICA, Japan International Cooperation Agency, I am pleased that NSWMA hold this pilot project of waste reduction through waste separation, waste diversion, and recycling. This project is planned by a senior planning officer of NSWMA who had participated in JICA training in Japan titled Sustainable Solid Waste Management for CARICOM countries. After he returned from Japan, he planned it based on what he'd learned in Japan. I am happy that JICA can assist this project under JICA follow-up cooperation program, although the amount is not bigger than 6.5 million Jamaican dollars. JICA has been offering several training programs to NSWMA since 1980s. So far about 30 NSWMA staff had participated in these JICA training programs.
This is a good government initiative based on a sponsorship from the Japanese government. It has allowed us to be one of the pilot projects, and we, the citizens and the residents of Caymanas, are grateful for this project because it allows us to sort our garbage, especially with the PET bottles. These are a continuous growing source of concern for our garbage collection with regards to blocking our drains and causing havoc on sea life. NSWMA, Solid Waste Management, has given us the bags so that it will encourage residents to carry out their bottles and put them in a central area that will be collected once a week. We will be sensitizing the residents based on the fact that it will encourage us to reduce our solid waste disposal.
We are taking up the plastic bottles, which we call the PET bottles, for recycling. So what we do, we separate them from the regular garbage in order to have the community be in a better environment. We have collections at the primary school, the Rollington Town Primary School, at 17 Montague Street, at the fire station, and Orcutt Road for now, but we are enlightening the rest of the community people about this project. It will help the community in a vibrant way because less garbage, less bottles being around, seeing that we have the Zika virus around, this will also help to decrease the mosquito-borne disease being harbored around.
I think it is a phenomenal first step in the right direction that Jamaica needs to go, engaging the community. Recycling Partners, as you know, fully endorses the program. And as we mentioned, we will continue once your test period is done. We are committed to continue cleaning up those neighborhoods and collecting the bottles. And we'll also use it as a test pilot for other communities that we are hoping to bring on board.
Waste separation is the way forward, and the NSWMA, through our partners, is working to make this a way of life for all.
Bad bacteria, we can't stop fight. Antibiotics, take them right. Antibiotics, come make me tell you how to take them right. Only take them from professionals with medical credentials. Do not share them with friends or relations. Use prescriptions, follow instructions. Take them till them done with no interruptions. Bad bacteria, we can't stop fight. Antibiotics, take them right.
Brought to you by the UWI Mona, Ministry of Health, National Health Fund, PAHO, WHO.
This is where our journey ends, but only for today. Do join us again tomorrow when we'll bring another informative program. In the meantime, stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine@jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JIS News. You may also find us on all the major social media platforms and through our mobile app that's Android and iOS compatible. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.